As you know, I'm a big fan of the R50, and one thing that I've really wanted to test, and a lot of people have asked me to test, is accuracy of this device. Now, normally I would test it up against a launch monitor that I know to be accurate, something like the GC Quad, for instance. The problem is there's interference when I set the two devices up next to each other. They interfere with each other. I've seen some tests with the TrackMan. It's very difficult to get completely scientific results. So I'm gonna do the next best thing here today, and we're gonna take it out on course and see if in real life the R50 shows us accurate shot shape, accurate distances, spin, and all the things that we look for in a launch monitor. We're gonna put it through a battery of tests. I'll use everything from a driver down to a wedge, and we're gonna see if the R50 is an accurate launch monitor, especially at this price point at $5,000. This thing has to be accurate in order to be worth it. Now, to me, one of the biggest selling points of the R50 is literally just how easy it is to set up. The fact that you can take it indoors, outdoors, you don't need a gaming computer because you can literally hook this right into the HDMI in the back and have a projector working straight from this device. It's just so super simple. So we're gonna go into practice mode here, and we'll just go to a distance range, a flat range. You've got a number of different range options. Now, one thing Garmin does amazingly is that you can set the ball flight conditions to where you're at in real life. So we can actually hit set to location if we were on the internet. All right, we're gonna be using a pitching wedge here, and I'll be attaching one of these stickers here that comes supplied with the R50. You just need to put it up at the top in the middle of your club face, and that's gonna give us club face data as well as ball data. All right, first shot here, we're all set up. Pitching wedge in hand, it's about a 135 shot. Let's see what we do. That one I caught thin, it's heading left. And it actually landed short of the green. Let's take a look here. On that one, I had ball speed 96.9, carried 125, so that makes sense. I missed the green, and I also, if you look at the arc of this shot, I did miss towards the left side of that green, so that looked really good. I hit it thin, so 6760 looks pretty much correct for spin. Total distance, 132. Now, that's not going to be correct because when it hit that green, the ball actually came backwards because that green's a little bit elevated. Apex height, 26.5, and as you can see, just tons more stats here, but what we're primarily interested in is carry, and we had 125.1 there. We'll see once we get up there if that's correct, but let's hit a few more shots here. See if I can make a little bit better contact. Yes, that was middle of the club face. And much higher, so we'll see that apex height probably shoot up. That was just slightly left of the pin. Let's take a look at what the R50 is telling us. As you can see, yes, I was just slightly left of target there on the second shot. My ball speed was up there at 100. My spin was up because I caught that in the middle of the club face at 74.03. My carry distance was longer there at 127.8. Might be a little low, I guess we'll find out. And the total distance, 133 on shot 2 there. Let's hit one more, and then we're gonna go literally measure these ones and see how accurate this was with pitching wedge at least. Another good one. And again, just slightly left of target, so I'm very consistent there, being a little left. Did catch that one good. Here are my stats for shot 3. Ball speed, 99, carried 128. Spin 6840, total distance 134. Let's go check the pitch marks and find out exactly where this one finished. At least by direction, that looks really, really good. All right, so the first one hit up at the top of the hill. Let's see if we can find exactly where it hit. This is the one that we got a measurement of 125. I found the pitch mark right here on the fringe, and according to the GPS, 122 is the number. And of course, this one rolled backwards down the hill, so the 132 total is not going to be correct. Now, on the Garmin R50, it read these shots as a couple yards longer, about 127, 128. Here's our pitch mark right here. This was our second shot. This one is at 126, so that is really close. That's within 1 yard right there. And our last one, the Garmin R50 said 128, we got 127 actual. I think really close. We're within a couple yards for all of those shots in terms of carry distance. Rollout distance, not the same though. As you can see, on a pitching wedge, I only rolled out maybe 1.5 yards, whereas the R50 is telling us 3 yards of rollout on a flat range. You get that with all launch monitors, generally overestimate that rollout number. So I always look at carry numbers. And carry numbers here, at least with the R50 and a pitching wedge, look pretty good. Let's move on to 8-iron here. What we're gonna do here is actually measure this shot. We're in the middle of the fairway. I've got a green where I can really get a full view of it because it slopes back to front. According to the rangefinder, that pin is sitting at 154. It's a front pin. We're gonna go 8-iron here. And one thing that this launch monitor, of course, can't account for is wind, but I would say the wind is pretty calm. That flag's not really moving. If anything, it's maybe into me a little bit, but all in all, we'll see how close it is. Pretty good strike, drawing in just slightly right of the flag, but I came up short. So there is some more wind up there than we thought. Now, according to the launch monitor, ball speed 109, carried 151. I'll tell you what, that's about bang on, because at 155, we missed short. One thing I'm seeing here is that the shape of that shot is very, very close to the draw that I hit, although it looks like it landed a little further left than I think it did in real life. Spin rate 51.88, total distance 163. Again, we didn't get that because that ball hit the elevated green and came backwards. Again, never trust total distance, but I'd say 151 for carry is pretty darn close, which also means I gotta swing this a little harder if I'm gonna get it there, or I'm gonna have to switch clubs. Shot 2 here. Very similar line. Also, definitely came up a little bit short. That's exactly what we're seeing on the launch monitor as well. Now, again, this arc is certainly left of where that ball landed, because we landed just a little bit left of center. Again, some of that may be with the alignment of how I have this machine aligned. It's got to be perfect, but I would say this is showing a little bit more right to left spin than it seemed like I got in real life. It was definitely drawing, but I don't think it was quite that extreme. But again, carry distance 150.9, it landed right about where the other one landed, so I'd say that's really, really close. So clearly I need to club up here in the morning. You just don't hit him as far as you do in the afternoon with all this dew and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit a 7-iron here on this third shot. 2 good strikes, just didn't get there. Let's see if we get there with the 7-iron now. That one's a little more right than the first 2 were, and that one definitely got to the green. It's middle of the green. You can see it here. This one did land right of those other balls for sure. This one is much closer, I think, to what we saw in real life. Carry distance 166, which by eye visually looks pretty good, seeing as we hit the middle of the green past the pin. Let's actually go up there and measure them and find out where they finished. All right, so walking up here, again, you can see this is a front flag stick. That second shot was passed, and it looks about 10 yards past. Let's find out exactly how far it traveled. 166 is what we got on the Garmin, and in real life, it was 160. Now, we did get some more roll out there. Now, our first shots both landed right in here, just before the fringe, and they were really close to each other, and we're right at 150 right here. And again, these rolled backwards rather than forwards, so the total distance is not gonna be correct. But again, carry distance within 1 yard there, that bodes really well. So the only little caveat I'm seeing there is maybe shot shape. I wanted to continue to test shot shape, and it'll be a little easier with a longer iron in our hands, or else you try to hit some fades. And again, see if what we're hitting and what we're seeing visually by eye is what the R50 is showing us. Now, the best price you are going to find on the R50 is going to be available at our partners, playbetter.com, where I get all my golf technology. They're a family-owned business, and they truly care about the customer, and they're such amazing friends to the Let's Play Through community. In addition to their free shipping, you also have a hassle-free money-back guarantee. They are the place to buy golf technology on the internet. They're the ones I trust implicitly here on Let's Play Through. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description so you can snag an R50 if you're interested, but first, let's dive into the rest of the details here. All right, what we're gonna do here is hit some long irons. I've got 4-iron in hand, and I'm gonna try to really test shot shape of this one. We'll also do our best here to measure distance, although we're gonna get a lot more roll out here out of a 4-iron, and we probably won't be able to see the pitch marks either, but I guess we'll look at total distance for these shots. Here we go, shot 1. All right, now that one has a very, very slight fade to it, and it landed left center of the fairway. As you can see, ball speed 125, carried 187. The spin there, 43.17. That looks in line with what I normally hit, and 199 total distance is what we're getting off that first shot. And as you can see, I'm getting a little baby fade there in terms of shot shape. This one is saying it's just slightly right of center, but all in all, I'd say that's pretty close. And there is a little bit of a variable, just again, depending on exactly where I have this lined. I'd say close anyways. You know, it started straight and started to fade whereas this is showing maybe more of a little bit of a pull fade. Shot 2 here. Again, just a little butter cut. These Ping irons, I'm using the Ping G440. They're very straight irons, but we did get a little bit of shape to that shot. And that's what we're seeing here on that left shot trace. Again, carried 189, spin rate 43, that looks good. Total distance 201, so very similar in terms of distance according to this one. By eye, from what I can see, they do look pretty similar out there in the fairway as well. And that one was a bit more of a pull fade, and that's exactly the shot shape we're getting there, so that bodes well. I'm gonna do my best here to exaggerate this as much as possible. I'm really gonna open up my stance here and see if I can get a lot of left to right movement. And that's exactly what I've done. So that is gonna finish well right even of this hole. That looks really good actually. That's exactly what I saw, whereas it started straight and it just continued to peel off right and it actually finished in the woods. It could have been even maybe more pronounced than that, but that looked pretty darn good. Just to test it, I'm gonna hit a couple of draws here with this 4-iron. We'll also see how that affects spin and distance. Should be less spin on this draw, and there should also be a little bit more distance on this draw, assuming I hit it in the middle of the club face. Started that one a little right, and then it's drawn right back into the center, and that's exactly what we're getting there as well. We're getting that. It started out towards the right, drew back. The spin is down as expected, 31.23. Our carry is up, 204. Now one more, again with a draw swing. That one I really hooked. That's going left. Started kind of straight and hooked left. And again, that's exactly the shot shape we're seeing. Carry 191 is down as expected. Spin, again, lower than our fade shots at 34.33. So all in all, really like what I'm seeing there out of the 4-iron. Visually, what I'm seeing is what I'm getting out of the shot shape there. I think that performed really well. And again, spin numbers and carry distances look pretty much as expected. We're gonna go again and measure these as best as we can to find out exactly where they finished, but so far, I think this is doing really well out here. We had 187, 189. These balls are within, I'd say, 3 to 4 yards of each other. The actual here was 181. On this one, actual over here, 184. And then this was our draw shot that I hit really well. Again, kind of started it right of center. And these ones are gonna have a lot more rollout as well. Those ones aren't gonna roll out much with the fade swing and that backspin, but with this lower spin, we're gonna get more rollout. We got 209 there, which pretty much tracks because it landed right back here. I can actually see this mark in the fairway. It landed here at 205. So here in real life, we're within 5 yards, even with a long iron. I think that is pretty darn good. In fact, there's a little wind in our face, which makes sense of why those fade shots probably didn't go as far as the R50 thought either. So everything is as expected. Obviously the R50 can't adjust for wind, but from what I can see, again, shot shape looks good. Spin numbers look good, at least with the long irons here. And distances, I think, look really good. Let's go to the next test. We're gonna put a wedge in our hands from short distance. All right, next test here, we've got lob wedge in hand. I'm 60 yards out exactly to this pin. In terms of actual distance, it looks like I hit just past the pin, and I'm getting 63.9 carry there. And I was just a little left of that pin as well. And that's exactly what we're seeing on the R50 here. Now the spin rate, 44.03, looks to me kind of low. I suppose I didn't necessarily clip that perfectly, but that seems really low for a lob wedge to me. But carry distance definitely seems on point, as well as direction there. We do have a lot of dew out here. It's early in the morning, it hasn't burned off yet, so that takes a lot of spin off the ball, but I don't know if it takes that much off. All right, shot 2 here. That's just slightly right of the pin. Again, carry distance, 63 yards. Spin rate, 45, 48. Again, to me, looks pretty low, but on that one, as you can see, it was a little right of the pin. That's exactly what we got. That one definitely didn't go as far. That's also what we're seeing here on the R50, 52.2 yards. I can see that visually. The spin rate though, 25.97. That is absolutely not correct. Fourth shot here. That's a little longer than the first ones, and that's exactly what I'm seeing on here as well, 67 yards. Now the spin rate, that looks a lot more accurate there, 6,100, and part of me thinks that could be maybe the divot that's being made here. We're not hitting off a mat, we're hitting off natural turf, and maybe that's why we're getting such weird anomalies of spin. That's left of target. I hit it a little better too. It might be the longest I've hit. And the carry distance there, 67, spin rate 4140. Gonna hit one more, sixth and final shot here. Again, past the hole there. That one I got 69 yards and spin rate 4691. So here we go. This is the one that it said I hit 51 yards and I'm 10 yards short of this pin. Those other ones that it said I hit 69 yards, those are 10, 15 yards past the pin in that direction. So the good news here, I think, is with wedges, distance looks great. The bad news to me is that spin number. And again, it could be the fact that we're on natural turf and maybe it's catching the grass instead of the ball and it's not properly measuring the spin of the ball there. But there definitely was probably only one shot there that I thought was even in the realm of possibility, that one we saw around 6,100. Certainly the 2,500 was a misread, but even still, even with all that, it seems like we're getting very accurate distances and direction out of this launch monitor. All right, now we're gonna test chip shots here. I've got a 54-degree wedge. I am exactly 22 yards from this flag stick. Let's see if this thing can accurately gauge chips. Probably chipped that about 10 feet. Let's see what this one says. Yes, 8.3 was the carry, total 15.6, and I am short, so that makes sense. That was a pretty bad chip. Let's see if we can do better here. Carried it a little bit further. That was carried into the 10-foot range. Total distance there, 20.2. It does look a couple yards short of the target there. I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm chipping with a glove, which I never do, so I'm taking the glove off now. Gloves are coming off. See if I can carry it a little bit further. That chip I carried considerably further, almost all the way to the hole. I'd say I carried it about 18 yards. This is telling me 16 yards, total distance 26.3, and it did actually run past the hole a couple of yards. So again, that looks good. That to me was about 11, and that's exactly what I'm seeing, 11.9. Total 22.4, which would be pin high. This one is just a little short of the pin. Hit one with a little more spin this time. Had a lot more spin on that one, as you can see it checked up. I'd say the carry distance there for the first time is a little low at 11.9, total 22.4. The backspin 2587 with the previous shot, and the backspin 16.9 there with that shot. I would say that's definitely a misread because I put more spin on there. But distance-wise, decent. Carry that one a bit further. That one got all the way to the hole. 16.3 was the carry and 26.3 was the total according to the R50. One more. $16.3 and 26.3 according to the R50. That one didn't quite get to the hole, so total's wrong, but carry was probably pretty close, at least I'd say again within a yard. So all in all, at least from what I can see here on course, chipping looks very, very good. Again, with the exception of spin, but distance-wise, reading those short shots really well, which bodes, I think, excellent for those folks that really want to get a lifelike simulator experience. Whether you're using Garmin's own Home T Hero with access to 43,000 courses, the caveat of that one being that the graphics aren't going to be quite as detailed and rich, or using something like GS Pro, which is going to have very rich graphics and a library that's over 1,000 courses now, or any of the other options that you can use with the R50. I think for simulator golf, you're going to get very close numbers, especially on mats, to what you're actually hitting, and I'm confident you're going to get the right shot shape very close in carry distance. And you know, like I said, all simulators kind of overestimate that rollout. All right, time to take out the big stick. Now, my expected carry distance, at least when it's hit well, is going to be somewhere in the 235 to 240 region. We are a slightly downwind here on this hole, and we'll see what this estimates in terms of total distance. Generally, this driver lives around 2,400 RPM in terms of spin as well, somewhere like 22 to 24. So We'll see how it does on spin. And my club head speed I know to be around 100-ish, sometimes up to like 105-ish. We'll see what we have today. Decent strike, not my best. According to the R50, that was a fade, and I don't know if it read my tee or what, but definitely in real life that was a draw. Spin rate looks high there as well, 38.01. Ball speed actually looks correct though, 148. Carry distance 224, finishing at 240, probably correct for that swing. But yeah, definitely shot shape there, not correct. For the first time, I'd say that's our first real egregious misread, at least in terms of shot shape out of this one. Shot 2. I pushed it, but I hit it pretty well. Of course, it's gonna hit a tree, which is gonna make it impossible for me to measure that. Now, shot shape there is actually correct. Backspin looks much better, 2135. Carry distance 252, it looks high for sure, and total distance 275. I hit that one really well. I don't know if I hit it 275 well, to be quite honest with you. That is on a better line. Fairly center of the club face. An actual really nice feature of this is you can see exactly where on this face I hit it. Let me see if I can show that for you. Ball impact, which is a great feature of this one. We've got all those stats. You can actually see the impact video. Let's see if we hit that in the middle of the club face. Yeah, looks pretty middle to me. So it's nice to have all these views. If we go back to the map here, this one said it was kind of straight and then drawing left. I would say I started that a little right. It was more of a push draw rather than a pull draw, what we're seeing there for shot shape. But stats look pretty in line from what I can see. Ball speed 146, maybe a touch lower than what it was, but we'll find out. Backspin 1979, that's within the realm of possibility. Carry 236 for a total of 259. That I'd say is probably pretty close. That one we'll actually be able to measure because it actually found the fairway. That one's gonna find the fairway as well. It's on a pretty similar line, maybe just slightly more left of that last one. Hit really well. Now the good thing we're seeing is that one, according to the Garmin, is slightly left of the last one as well. And I do believe that ball was hit better, and we're seeing better stats here. 147.5 for ball speed. The spin right in line with what I'd expect at 2256. Carried 239, total 262. That I'd say was probably bang on. Let's hit one more, and this time I'm gonna hit a fade. Fairly straight shot really, but it is just ever so slightly fading. We're kind of seeing fade spin there. Again, it's showing that it's more of a pull fade. I would say it would kind of start it a little straighter, but again, it all depends on the alignment of this machine, and maybe I don't have it 100% aligned. Now, in terms of ball speed, down a little bit at 144, which makes sense for a fade. The spin 2382 higher, which makes sense for a fade. Maybe it even had a little more, I don't know. Carry 245, that seems a little high, I would guess, and 265 is the total. But let's go find out where they finished and see how accurate this thing is with a driver. All in all, apart from that first shot, which is a real anomaly, I think it did pretty good, in line with what I normally get for stats. But let's find out where it actually finished. All right, this was our first ball here along the left, and according to my GPS, 244 is approximately where this one landed. We do have a little bit of wind behind us, and again, the R50 can't account for the wind on course necessarily. This one finished at 249. 224 is what this said, and it said it would finish at 240. So we actually got significantly more out of that one. I would say the wind maybe is adding about 5 yards, so that was a bit of a lower read for sure. So on the third shot, the R50 told me that it went 236 and rolled down to 259. I'm here at 277 actually. Again, maybe a little under red. This was my best one. This was my fourth shot, and I'm at 286. Whereas I thought that was gonna be a little high. It was actually maybe a little bit low, which is really interesting. I don't think there's that much wind up there, to be honest. This was that last fade I hit, which did say it went a long way, but according to my GPS, 281 is the number for that one. So we actually got more distance out of these drives than the R50 was telling us. it was under reading it just by a little bit. And our last ball is in the woods, so that cut down distance considerably. 257 here, but of course it lost some speed hitting some of these tree branches. So the totals that the R50 was giving us was 240, 275, 259, 262, and 265. In real life, we were up to 20 yards further than that, hitting, I think 287 was my longest there. Now, as I mentioned, there was some wind behind me. I don't think it was 20 yards worth of wind, but maybe 5 to 10 yards worth. And again, that's going to be just something the R50 can't possibly account for. But overall, I'd say in general, maybe reading drives a little potentially on the low side, which is interesting. So I think it's worth retesting that. So I'm gonna take a few more balls here, hit some more shots, and again, just see how the R50 does with the driver in hand. We still do have that wind behind us. We're on the same path as the last hole. Good one. That started a little right at target and finished pretty much dead center. Ball speed 147. I'm getting 21.24 for spin. I had an estimated carry of 246 and an estimated total of 271. Shot 2. That one a little more left than the first one. It's gonna find the rough. I had ball speed of 148.5, spin at 2014, carry 226, and total of 253. And let's hit one more here. Pretty straight shot there. And that's exactly what I'm seeing in terms of shot shape on the R50. Just slightly right of my target. Ball speed 143, spin 2234, carry 239.5, and total 262.5. So let's find out in real life where those ones finished. All right, so the estimate from the R50 on this shot was 242, I believe. This one in real life, 247. Now, according to the R50, the total distance on these drives was 262. This one that's left center, and the one that's right center, 271. So I'm getting 248 here, and on this one, I'm getting 255. So the difference in drives looked good in terms of like the gap between those two drives. But of course, the full distance number that the R50 was telling us wasn't as far. Now, the other thing I'll say about real life is on the R50 range, it's a flat range. On this hole, it's a slight uphill. All right, so you're not gonna get quite as much rollout. But all in all, I'd say I'm pretty confident that carry distances do look real good here out of the R50 with a driver. And as I've continued to pound the point here all day, total distances could really be all over the place just because of the number of different factors you get on a real golf course. But carry-wise, the difference between those two drives was 253 to 262, and in real life, it was about a 7-8 yard difference as well. So honestly, I feel very confident that throughout the bag, we're getting very good distances. Now, again, let's talk about the anomalies or the places this one fell short. Well, a couple times we got incorrect spin numbers out of this R50, and at least one time we got an egregiously wrong shot shape. But I hit probably 35 shots out here today between all the shots we took, and we only had one real bad misread. What could be causing that misread? Again, could be debris on the R50 itself, because if you're using this in a natural turf environment, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but there's actually a lot of different debris and kind of grass clippings and things that, you know, with the ball sitting so close to this machine, it picks up. Now, does that play a role? Does that get in the way of the cameras? I guess we'll never know for sure, but I have a sneaky suspicion that could be the case. So all in all, I think the R50 performs exceptionally well in terms of accuracy, and I really do believe that if you're playing an indoor simulated round of golf or you're trying to get your stats on a driving range, you can truly trust the numbers you're getting out of the Garmin R50. What do you think down below? I'm sure that the pundits will really dissect this review and tell me all the flaws I had. It's certainly not a completely scientific test because there's just conditions I can't account for. But all in all, I'm really happy and I trust the numbers I'm getting on the R50. What do you think? Let me know down below. Check out our others here on the Garmin R50. I'll leave the overview video here as well as a demonstration of the R50 Home Tee Hero here. A really great simulator built into this one out of the box. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you back next time on another edition of Let's Play Through.